Okay, so we're diving into something today that's probably a little nerve-wracking if you're out there looking for a new job.
Yeah, definitely familiar territory for anyone who's been through the interview process.
It's that classic question that can really make or break you. Why do you want to work here? And we're not just throwing this out there. We've actually been digging into some really insightful advice from an expert.
Yeah, we found this fantastic YouTube video by Anthony Stagg. He's a professional who really knows his stuff. And what's interesting is he approaches this question from the employer's perspective.
So we're kind of getting a behind-the-scenes look at what's going on in the interviewer's mind when they ask that.
Exactly. And our goal today is to use Anthony's insights to help you totally nail this question.
No more generic answers, no more stumbling through it. We
hmm
want you to walk into that interview feeling confident and prepared.
So think of this as your secret weapon, a framework, and some really solid examples to help you stand out from the crowd.
All right, let's get into it, starting with the basics. Why do employers even bother asking this question in the first place?
I mean, it seems polite enough on the surface, right? But Anthony makes a really good point. It's not just about wanting to hear you say nice things about their company.
There's got to be more to it than that.
He says it's actually a key test of your motivation and how much you've actually bothered to research the company.
So they're not just looking for a fan. They're looking for someone who's really thought about this.
Exactly. And this is especially important, he says, for smaller companies or startups.
Yeah, because the founders have often poured their heart and soul and probably a lot of their savings into building this thing.
Exactly. They've taken huge risks. They're deeply invested. So if a candidate comes in and can't articulate why they're drawn to that specific company, it can be a real letdown.
It's like you're not just applying for a job, you're almost joining a family or a movement in a way.
Yeah, and if you don't get that, if you haven't done your homework to understand what makes this company unique, it shows.
And Anthony also talks about something that a lot of employers are wary of people who are just desperately trying to escape a bad situation.
Oh, yeah. Job hopping just to get away from a toxic boss or a dead end role, that's a red flag for a lot of hiring managers.
Because it suggests you're not making a conscious choice. You're just running away from something.
Right. And employers want to see that you're genuinely interested in their company, that you've chosen them for a reason.
So it's not just about filling a vacancy, it's about finding the right fit.
Exactly. And that brings us to the importance of research, which is something Anthony really emphasizes.
And he's not talking about just skimming the company website for 5 minutes before the interview, right?
No, definitely not. He says you absolutely have to go deeper than that. The website is like the bare minimum, the starting point.
But what does that deeper research actually look like?
Well, he gives some really practical advice, and one of the most interesting things he suggests is trying to actually talk to people who already work at the company.
Oh, wow. So like reaching out to someone on LinkedIn or
Yeah,
something?
or even asking your recruiter or the person who initially contacted you about the job if it's possible to have a quick chat with someone on the team.
I mean, that would be amazing because you get such valuable insights into the day-to-day reality of working there.
Exactly. You could ask them about the company culture, the challenges they're facing, the opportunities for growth. That kind of stuff is gold.
And it shows a level of initiative that most candidates probably don't even think about.
Absolutely. And another thing Anthony recommends is looking at the company's annual reports.
Okay, now that might sound a little dry, but
But it's actually a treasure trove of information, especially for publicly traded companies.
what kind of things should we be looking for in those reports?
We'll pay attention to the chairman's letter or the strategy section. They often outline the company's key priorities and the challenges they're facing.
So you can get a sense of the big picture, where the company's headed and what they're focused on.
Right. And that gives you some really specific points to address in your answer. It shows you're thinking beyond just the job description.
Okay, so we've got talking to people, reading annual reports. What else?
Well, Anthony also cautions against just regurgitating information you found on the website or in a report.
Oh, right. Don't just parrot back their mission statement or something.
Exactly. He says it lacks depth, and the interviewer already knows what's on their own website.
What they want to hear is how you interpret that information, what it means to you.
Right. How does it connect to your own skills and experience your career goals?
So it's about showing that you've actually processed the information and thought about it critically.
And he also makes a good point that the level of research expected can vary depending on the seniority of the role.
Makes sense. The higher up you go, the more you need to understand the company's overall strategy and its place in the industry.
But even for entry-level jobs, you still need to do your research. Don't skip this step.
Okay, so we've talked about why employers ask this question and how to do the research. Now, let's get to the heart of it, what makes a good answer.
Antony says a strong answer communicates several key things. Firstly, it shows genuine motivation that you're truly excited about this opportunity, not just any opportunity.
So you're not just looking for a paycheck, you're looking for something more.
Right. It also demonstrates proactiveness. You've gone above and beyond to learn about the company.
You're not just a passive applicant, you're taking initiative.
And perhaps most importantly, it shows that you genuinely want to work for this specific company.
Not just any company in that industry or with a similar role.
Exactly. You've chosen them for a reason, and you can articulate that reason clearly.
And it suggests that you're viewing this as a potential long-term career move.
Not just a temporary stepping stone.
So all of those things combined paint a really attractive picture for the employer.
Absolutely. It shows you're serious, you're committed, and you're going to bring value to the company.
Okay, to really illustrate this, let's look at some examples.
Yeah.
Antony shares a really weak answer in his video. Do you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. He gives this example. I believe your company is growing, and I see this as a good opportunity for me to use my skills and experience to help you. I also believe I fit into the culture, which is important in order to get on with people. And lastly, I believe there's a great number of opportunities for me to grow and develop into a leadership role so I can contribute to others.
Okay, so right off the bat, that feels very generic and kind of impersonal.
Exactly. Antony says it lacks depth. It barely scratches the surface.
It's like a template you could use for any company in any industry.
And he points out that there's no evidence of actual research. No specific details about the company or the role.
And saying you fit into the culture to get on with people? That's so vague, it's almost meaningless.
Right. It doesn't tell the interviewer anything about your understanding of the company's values or how you would contribute to the team.
And while wanting to grow into a leadership role is fine, it needs to be connected to this specific opportunity.
How does this company and this role align with your leadership aspirations?
Okay, so that's what not to do. Now let's look at a strong answer. Antony shares an example from a candidate applying for a sales position in the insurance market.
Right. This is where it all comes together. The candidate's response was, "The growth of the organization is one of the reasons why I'm impressed and want to join your company. I've read news articles in industry magazines and also looked at the company's annual report in depth to see how the insurance market share has grown. I have a lot of experience in this sector, and for the past 5 years, I've worked in car and motor insurance where I've consistently been a top achiever, exceeding all targets for the last 24 months. I also want to join your company because I believe in the company values of contribution to the team and to the community, as well as putting the customer first. I believe in contributing and having my spare time funding qualifications in leadership and coaching to the highest level to help individuals achieve their targets and goals, but more in their personal and business lives too. I've actively spoken to people within your organization, and I understand the amount of effort and passion everybody puts into acquiring new customers and serving existing ones. I have recently received a customer service award from my current employer for my dedication to solving challenging issues with customers. I can outperform sales targets by providing excellent customer service, and it is all these reasons that I wish to join your company."
Wow, okay, that is a completely different level. It's
Huh.
detailed, it's specific, it's clearly tailored to this company.
Yeah, this candidate did their homework, and it shows.
So what are the key things that Antony highlights as making this answer so strong?
Well, firstly, the evidence of research is undeniable. They mention specific sources like industry magazines and the annual report.
They've gone beyond the surface level, they've dug deep.
And instead of just vaguely mentioning culture, they actually name the company's values.
Contribution to the team community and putting the customer first.
Exactly. And that shows they've not only read about the values, but they understand them and they resonate with them personally.
And what I love is they don't just state the values, they connect their own experiences and achievements to them.
Right. They talk about their track record of exceeding sales targets and their customer service award, which directly aligns with the company's emphasis on customer satisfaction.
So they're showing how their skills and their past successes can directly contribute to the company's goals.
They also mention speaking to people within the organization, which gives them a genuine insight into the company culture and the people who work there.
So they've gone the extra mile to really understand what it's like to be part of this company.
And all of this is framed in terms of what they can bring to the employer, not what the employer can do for them.
It's not about what's in it for me. It's about, here's how I can help you succeed.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective makes a huge difference.
Okay, so for our listeners out there who are prepping for their next big interview, what are the key takeaways from all of this?
I think the most important thing is to really focus on the organization's values, do your research, and understand what truly drives their work.
And then ask yourself honestly, why does this company stand out to you? What makes them different or special?
And don't just state your reasons, back them up with concrete evidence from your skills, your experience, and your research.
Interviews are all about providing evidence. The more specific and relevant, the better.
And absolutely avoid those generic one-size-fits-all answers, especially if you're interviewing with founders or people who are deeply invested in the company.
They can spot a lack of genuine interest a mile away.
So to sum it all up, a compelling answer to why do you want to work here
Yeah.
goes beyond surface-level statements.
It's about showing that you've done your homework, that you understand the company's values, and that you have the skills and experience to help them achieve their goals.
And that brings us to a final thought for you to consider. Don't just focus on what the company does, but how they do it.
What's their unique approach, their specific methodology?
And how can your own unique perspective, your skills, and your experience contribute to that specific approach?
What piece of information did you uncover in your research that really sparked your interest and could form the foundation of a truly memorable answer?
That's the real deep dive.
That's where the magic happens.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time.